Jack, boy, get yourself in here.
Thank you very much, Abner.
Jack, come on in.
Are you Ryan? Yes, sir. Come on, we're late.
Lieutenant Ryan, I just want to say thank you for your service.
Appreciate that.
I was a fan of the movies. That's where I came from. You know, it's like I went to them, I loved them.
And they're all just so well made.
For me, it's sort of a full circle because I used to double Harrison Ford in all the Indiana Jones and Frantic and a bit on Jedi and stuff like that. So for me, it's fun to do this because it's the prequel setting up for what Harrison did on the other ones.
Ryan, come on in.
So it's really quite fun for me, you know?
Obviously, I knew the films and knew the character, and I haven't read all the books. There are too many books in the series, I think.
I felt as though, having admired the previous pictures, I didn't feel I was in competition or have to prove anything, but I was very glad to get a chance to run with that particular story.
It's been a long journey to get to here, through many different scripts and permutations of it.
I think it's been 5 years of developing scripts for this.
Years ago, we started trying to do it for Harrison Ford. We spent about a year and a half, and then Harrison said, you know, I love this character, but I got to go to work. And he went off to do another movie. So there I was sitting alone with the franchise character and nobody to play it or write it.
I was a huge fan of the Jack Ryan series, and they weren't doing anything with it. And I went to the then head of production, Brad Weston, and said, I've got an idea about how to approach this character. Why don't we try to bring it back? And he embraced it, and we started on our first version of it.
We had a really fantastically structured script. It was very tight. The plot was really rich. Characters were well developed.
As opposed to it just being the sort of everyday action film where you don't get the kind of performances, you don't get the story, you just get action scene to action scene to action scene.
I read this from cover to cover, and it was very nerve-jangling, spine-tingling action thriller, but more than that, it carried a sort of emotional charge that I was surprised by. You really care about Jack Ryan. He's a very particular kind of character in this genre of film.
It's not your grandfather's Jack Ryan. This is totally brand new. You know, it's introducing the franchise to a whole new audience and a whole new group.
This is cornerback. I have a situation. I need help.
Category.
Somebody tried to kill me. There's a body.
You are breaking protocol, cornerback.
I'm out of my goddamn element is what I am. I'm just an analyst. I only did 3 weeks at the farm.
I think everybody was happy for it to be reimagined, to be reinvented, sort of from the inside out, and also for it to be something about arriving at Jack Ryan.
It's interesting because this movie's not based on any of the Clancy books. Maybe that's part of what made it difficult.
There was something about the longevity of Tom Clancy's characters that meant that they were obviously speaking to people over quite a long period of time. That usually means there is something universal wrapped up in the web of that.
The con is that we had to come up with this whole large conspiracy, this whole notion of a global disaster impending.
The cell order is programmed for 9:06 a.m. Eastern time. They're dumping everywhere. Tokyo, London, Shanghai, a dozen other exchanges. It's almost $2 trillion. It's going to be a wipeout.
It's 18 hours.
But the advantage is we were able to take from every one of the books things about Jack Ryan.
An author and professor at the United States Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland, Ryan is a former Marine lieutenant.
We were able to say, all right, he had a past history of being in the finance world.
He'd been a Marine, but there wasn't a book written about him being a Marine. We knew, you know, his father is a police officer.
He's been to war. He was in a helicopter accident. This is all Tom Clancy lore.
There's elements that you've seen in some of the movies. There's certain elements you haven't seen at all.
So a lot of our process was about pulling all that together to tell the beginning story of the Jack Ryan character, where he was before he was a spy.
Jack starts off not even carrying a gun. And so he's a financial guy, but he's such a resourceful person that we could revolve the movie around his character.
In a way, it's the truest version of Jack Ryan because we were able to, frankly, take things from all sorts of different things and put them all together into one piece.
You're operational now.
What always distinguished the prior movies was they were always, to me, slightly more intelligent. The stakes of it was always high, and there was always a sense of really contemporary feeling. When the IRA was big, we were in Patriot games. You know, when Pablo Escobar, etc. So what it was always great is I think it had a sense of immediacy. And that was one of the first things that we tried to create with this.
The challenge for us was to find the relevancy in a world that's completely changed since these books were originally written.
It's in a post 9/11 world that deals with covert agencies and the kinds of financial crises that can be global in a heartbeat that we all have experience of watching unfold.
Clancy came at it from a really human point of view and an incredibly researched point of view. So I think the world that he created, you recognize that it was our world. So this movie's about today, for sure, you know. What's going on in our world today? A very rough and emerging Russia that appears. Young people have a hard time finding their way in life. There's not a lot of opportunity. Economic precipice, that's part of this. Terrorism. So this movie's really got 5 things going on that make it incredibly contemporary.
Did they hit anybody's Instagram, Facebook, Hopscotch, Reddit, anything?
None.
Here, image looker. Our guy never went to New York. He had someone scout it for him, and they posted the pictures so he could plan the attack.
There's this weird balance of intellect and everyman about Jack Ryan, which I think is very unique to Jack Ryan. James Bond isn't that way, Jason Bourne isn't that way, Salt isn't that way.
Part of the challenge for us was carving out our own space within the spy world and making sure that there was a good reason to do this movie within the context of those other movies and to tell a different part of the spy oeuvre.
Those are things that have to be taken in consideration when you're making it. You know, the spy movie, the CIA movie is a staple of Hollywood now, and so